Tiago Brasil Rocha, who is the founder of Build from Scratch in Brazil. His company is focused on the growth of new technology scaling up, and it's a partner in Greentech Latin America event. So Tiago, over to you. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you very much, David. Thank you very much, Peter, for the invite, and also all other colleagues who were speaking today. And thank you for hearing me also, people who are here for listening to Build from Scratch and Greentech America Latina. Well, as I mentioned, David, to you and Peter, basically, well, my life was all mainly in the forestry and consumer goods area in large corporations, working mainly in the finance and investor relations area. So basically, a lot of synergies with what I heard from John in the first presentation, and think about clean industry. And basically, my father is a geologist, worked all his life in underground water. And from home, I also learned a lot from him, from the preservation and all the needs for like keeping the environment well treated. So, well, I was working for several years in large corporations and in the US, in Europe, and also in South America, and observing what was happening in the market. And hey, there is something complicated happening. We need to treat this. And years have passed, and I was seeing more and more need for that. So basically, I decided to found my company, which is called Build from Scratch, to help new technologies to grow. And more than that, also help all those new technologies that have very high potential for growth to connect with companies, to connect with governments, to connect with problems. Well, basically the problems are, I don't know if it's going to fit in the screen. Big. And well, the solutions are there. How we can't use those solutions. A lot of times we have the solutions ready, and sometimes the entrepreneurs, they can't find pilot projects. So I'm basically working in the impact investment area, connecting the people who create the technologies and are looking for pilot projects and are looking to solve the big problems. And basically the problems, they are not in one country, they are not in one region, they are not in one city, they are global. So I believe there are plenty of opportunities for those companies to grow, and I'm committed to help them and also help the planet, of course. But let me give you a few numbers. If you look, for example, the IFC report that was published last year, they say the world needs to invest $29.4 trillion until 2030 in order to be able to catch up with all the climate issue. Well, I think this is sizable. When I look for the emerging market investment necessary, it's $23 trillion. Wow, this is also big. And not only because it's necessary to change in a specific situation, but also because it's like sometimes first time situation of investment in one technology. So you all know that emerging markets are under development. So think about, I don't know, some countries that don't have sewage. It's a big problem. Think about energy. We already heard a little bit here. think about waste, but also think about very high-end technology that needs to receive investment. And basically, I perceive that it is very difficult for the corporations, for the governments, for the owners of the problem to find the specific way to solve. And then I started, of course, promoting the new technologies that are ready to use, that are already generating revenues, that are like clearly handling the problem and delivering the solution for those companies. And basically, the idea of the company and the Greentech America Latina event is to make this easier, because we don't have a lot of time, right? If we wait until, I don't know, 40, 50, or I don't know if this will be good. And I'm not thinking only about one place, but I think for all. So I believe most of the technologies, they can be exported to other places. So sometimes South American technologies that work in the US, sometimes in Europe, sometimes the opposite. But I don't believe you need to create the wheel in everywhere. No, basically everyone developing the same thing. If it's ready and is applicable and it delivers the results that we need, I think we should make it easier to grow and implement, right? And so basically we started to do those events, and last event, last year in November, we had more than 700 people subscribed from 25 countries and 558 scale-ups with technologies for sustainability. But then you may think, hey, the guy from South America is speaking. Oh, he's going to speak about Amazon. No, I'm speaking about technology, and I'm speaking about business. Okay, so basically, how we select the companies? We look for technologies that are, firstly, reducing CO2 emissions or removing pollution. That's the first way of selecting. Second way, it's widely acceptable to implement in several places and countries. So it has a very good probability of solving large problems. And then third, it has a very high potential for growth in terms of revenue. So it's sustainable and it generates revenues. We look this because we think, hey, we have no reason to escape to kind of adopt that. We must do it. It's working, and in all senses is good. And then we work with the intention of finding more pilot projects for those companies that are usually not so big, but they have a very good product that solves issues. And well, we already presented 32 companies to the public. They are all on our website, greentechamerica.latina.com. A lot of them are growing. So if you think about, for example, a problem like fires in forestry areas or maybe agribusiness areas, you have artificial intelligence for that. Oh, maybe this is good in Brazil. Wow, this might be good in California. Oh, wow, Australia has also the same problem. Oh, Portugal. So basically everywhere. But if you think about blockchain for waste, or maybe blockchain for the fishing industry, or maybe if you think about very high technology linked to sustainability, we have several options that are like growing. And I'm very happy with the results of the event and helping people to expand the use of those technologies that usually people don't even know sometimes is possible to have. And then a lot of times I receive calls, hey, please, I have a problem, it's large. What do you have to solve this? Sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't, but we are trying to implement more and more and more and more pilots, because we see impact investment first from implementation of the solution and removal of CO2 and pollution, and secondly, as investment. We believe both things are tied, but solving the problem is first, investing comes attached, because some technology that solves the problem, well, one day or another later is going to receive an investment. I think it's not only this, but also if you think about jobs, the large corporations making business with the smaller companies that have very high potential for growth makes total sense. And then those companies ultimately are hiring more people, are growing, are delivering what the corporations need or the government needs, but also if you think about the sustainable aspect, it's integrated. And I see a lot of people looking to work in new companies with new technologies that solve big problems. Sometimes people call and say, hey, I want to go there, and please find me a place in this space. Is something new, is something, well, and I think it's a little a trend, and is necessary. People are seeing more and more and more and more the need to invest in the area. And I'm working progressively to mobilize capital for that, because I see that most of the countries, most of the investors, they look short-term, mostly. Some funds, they have eyes for medium and a little larger period of time to invest in something that is very disruptible and can change the dynamics, the current dynamics. So basically, I'm working in this space with investors that are looking for a more, how can I say, patient investment time, and they clearly see the problem, they clearly see the solutions, and so they basically look for this kind of investment. I see, well, Greentech America Latina is transversal. When I used to, well, work in industries, hey, this is something of energy. No, this is something of waste. No, this is everywhere. So basically, some technologies can be created to change the status quo. We are talking about some of them here today. But also, I see a lot of evolution. So you have steps forward. Sometimes you are in one space, you adopt some technology, you jump ahead, but maybe you are not in the state of art, but you are already doing something and removing pollution, removing CO2, and improving all the metrics that are necessary for the planet. And lately, I think it's widely known that several large investors are looking for this kind of area. Well, we see the books from Gates, we see the funds from several other very large investors. And I think that some regions, they tend to have more liquidity, more investment, more how can I say, incentive. Other regions may not, but it's not because of that they don't have very good technology. So I would say sometimes you are looking for a solution for one problem and you think, hey, it's just here. But we have a very large number of companies that we have a relationship, and sometimes we see, hey, you have 30 options for one problem. What's the best of the 30? And I know that each problem is different and each solution is different. So I think there is no single answer for each case, you know. And then what I think is good is to be able to compare one thing with another, compare the scopes, compare the results, compare everything and decide for the best. And I think this is a big opportunity, not only implementing, but it's also a big opportunity for the companies, for the governments, for the individuals to think about what we are doing and their impact, and of course, have better decisions that in the end help the planet. I think it's all what I had to say. I'm not sure if you have questions. Sorry for talking too much.
Tiago, that was excellent. And I know that you're an essential part of Peter's vast network, and I suspect that Peter's an important part of your network, but do put in the chat or do post your website, because we've had questions from some who would like to know your website. I don't know if it's, built from scratch or if it's, so be sure and give us the website that you use, because it appears to us, and this is what I like you just to speak about, in your quest for patient capital, are there public funds that are going into some of these ventures? Are you seeking private funding from multiple nations? As you said, you had 25 nations participate in your conference. I'm assuming that you're shopping the world for investors who are sympathetic to the technologies that you have there. But by all means, give us the website.
Yeah, I just sent a website in the screen here for all.
Yeah,
it's everything open. We are not thinking to make it harder. We think to make it easier. That's the purpose. I basically join what I like with what I know, I used to say, so sustainability with finance. And responding your question, we don't have, for example, government funds. We don't look, for example, one country. We work in the ecosystem with the solutions, because basically what I see that adds value, David, is you have a large problem. You come to me and say, hey, I need to fix this. You want to have the best solution, basically, right? And we help you to reach that. So basically, if you think about energy here in Brazil, for example, I'm in Brazil right now, in Florianopolis. It was announced a very large hydrogen project, $5.2 billion project. It's green hydrogen. It's under construction, and it mainly uses renewable energy for hydrogen production. And I know that, for example, you have needs here in Europe, in US, in several places, in several areas. So think about, I'll give you some examples of startups that presented in the event previously. Company linked to blockchain for circular economy. This company showed their product in our first event, and later, so basically they have all the tracking for recycling waste and more related to glass. But after they started to do it with glass, they started to say, hey, this is possible for plastic. This is possible for aluminum. This is possible for a wide range of applications, you know. And then they started to receive invites from abroad, from other countries, et cetera, and they are doing pilots in different industries and countries. The same for other technologies. Some of them are possible to scale up in a very good manner. And then, well, basically you have, for example, in our last event, we had 2/3 of the companies from South America, and 1/3 of the companies, they came from Europe. You have European companies coming here, you have Brazilian companies going to other places, but we also had companies from Argentina, from Chile, from Colombia, and Brazil presenting last year. And in Europe also from several countries. We basically look for the solutions, the best solution.